workers as they push for improved salaries and working conditions. Stay tuned to Newsplus for details on a drug bust by police at the Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport. In sport, we give you results from matchday 9 of the Castle Premier Soccer League. And now in news in great detail, President Emmerson Mnangagwa has reaffirmed his government's commitment to upholding fair labor standards across all sectors. In his virtual Workers' Day address delivered, President Mnangagwa highlighted ongoing efforts to conduct workplace inspections, ensuring a safe and healthy environment for workers.
To ensure compliance with labor standards, my government is scaling up inspections to enforce regulations governing the workplace. We are determined to continually raise awareness on the importance of compliance to occupational health and safety standards, as outlined in our country's labor laws.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa said his government is also reviewing labor laws to ensure they align with current trends in the labor market. This initiative complements efforts to fully operationalize the tripartite negotiation forum, among other measures.
The review of the country's labor laws to make them more responsive to the needs of an ever-evolving labor market is ongoing. In this regard, inclusive and broad-based dialogue with social partners will always be key characteristics of my government's engagements.
Meanwhile, government workers gathered in Harare today for Workers' Day commemorations. The celebrations kicked off with a march from the Zimbabwe Teachers Association offices to Allen Wilson High School. Several welfare issues were raised during the event, with government committing to addressing them. More from ZTN Prime's Tafara Sibochiwe.
International Workers' Day, also known as May Day, has its roots in the labor movement's fight for better working conditions. Today, civil servants in Zimbabwe used the day to reflect on their achievements over the years, as well as raise pertinent labor grievances. With their employer, the government, well represented at the event, the workers asked for a salary review. At present, the lowest paid civil servant gets $300 plus an average of 3,000 ZiG before deductions. But workers' representatives are pushing for a minimum salary of $840.
This May Day, we are celebrating it against the backdrop of depressed salaries. We know that our salaries are always chasing the cost of living. And it's a dialogue that we are supposed to be having with the employer.
The commemorations were not all about grievances by the workers. It was also time to reflect on achievements recorded over the years. Government workers noted that labor relations between them and their employers had significantly improved, with meaningful engagements yielding positive results.
We have a consultative forum with the Public Service Commission. We hold quarterly meetings, consultative meetings, where we look at everything that affects the life of a worker, especially public workers and civil servants. And those committees look at issues like healthcare. We're looking at housing for civil servants.
The Zimbabwe Teachers Association expressed pride in how Zimbabwean teachers have excelled not only locally but globally as they have penetrated global markets.
Zimbabwean education is a toast for the world. The teachers from Zimbabwe are a toast to the world, and we have seen the world clamoring to get Zimbabwean teachers to teach in their countries. That is an indication that the quality of our education and training for our educators.
Government, represented by the Deputy Minister of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare, Honourable Mesidina, acknowledged some of the grievances raised by the workers and committed to address them. The Public Service Deputy Minister expressed confidence that ongoing engagements between workers and government will in due course yield positive results.
There are talks with the ZCTU and the labour. I can say the labour the workers and the government on all the packages of the workers. So there is social dialogue and everything is going on well, and the problems that are facing the teachers or the workers nationwide, they are going to be addressed in due time.
As workers nationwide celebrate Workers' Day, the key message from both employers and employees is that welfare of workers is paramount to national development. Both parties are confident that continuous dialogue will broker win-win outcomes. Tafara Sabuchiwe for ZTN Prime.
To discuss further the welfare of government workers, we are joined by Godwill Taderera, the Acting Secretary General of the Zimbabwe Teachers Association. Good evening, Godwill, and thank you so much for joining us on Newsplus. Now, let's get to our issue. We understand you have been engaged in talks with your employer over salary issues. What is the latest update?
We have made submissions through the Zimbabwe Confederation of Public Sector Trade Unions, and we are aware that the ZICOPS2 has written to the employer to cause a meeting to happen, which meeting I understand has not yet been held. And we anticipate that any time from now, the employer should be calling us for the first quarter meeting, which is fast running out. Actually, we are already into the second quarter.
We'd also like to know, what options do you have for workers if the talks don't produce your expected outcomes?
I'll speak on behalf of the Zimbabwe Teachers Association. And you recall or remember that there are now more than 10 teacher unions in the nation. But as for the Zimbabwe Teachers Association, we believe in following processes, consultative processes, which consultative processes we are doing right now. As I speak, I will be traveling to Bulawayo on the 2nd in preparation for a national conference. And the Zimbabwe Teachers Association has its national conference as the supreme decision-making body. So we will be receiving our delegates from branches, districts, and provinces. And those will then come with resolutions. It is those resolutions that will then be tabled at conference and inform the decisions that we will take thereafter. So whether or not the schools will open will depend on the outcomes of our national conference, which is coming around the 4th and 5th of this coming May.
Thank you, Godwill, for joining us. Still on labour issues, worker groups are demanding the gazetting of a national minimum wage to prevent exploitation and ensure fair compensation with a workforce of approximately 2 million people. Zimbabwean workers are pushing for a wage floor to protect their rights and improve their livelihoods. More from the following report.
The Zimbabwe Congress of Trade Unions has conducted a survey revealing that many formerly employed individuals earn approximately 150 United States dollars per month, a sum deemed insufficient for sustaining livelihoods. In response, the trade union body is calling on the government to establish a national minimum wage of 300 United States dollars for the lowest paid workers across most sectors.
We are asking the government to come up with a minimum wage, a reasonable minimum wage. Some countries have a country minimum wage, where they say in this country no one earns less than this amount. Right? The idea behind it is to cushion the most vulnerable people. Right? The security guards who are earning less than 150 per month. So if we have a minimum wage, say, of about $300 per month, we know we've cushioned the least paid.
Growing demands for improved working conditions are adding to the pressure on employers. The University of Zimbabwe branch of the Association of University Teachers is pushing for tangible changes, including provision of essential tools and technology to enable lecturers to perform their duties effectively.
But also, we are also arguing for even non-monetary incentives. For example, a University of Zimbabwe professor does not get a computer to work on, does not have a smartphone to do online teaching and consultation. A University of Zimbabwe academic does not have, or is not provided with data. For example, we have got to pay for your own computer, pay for your own smartphone from the 230 USD that the priest is paying.
Government says there is possibility of gazetting a minimum wage for its employees, but is currently prioritizing ongoing talks on negotiating platforms. Meanwhile, workers in the private sector are being encouraged to organize and engage in collective bargaining to push for better wages.
The workers bring it up for discussion and the employers are up for it, especially government. It can be discussed in a tripartite setup which recommended the same from last year, and I don't see that being difficult to achieve. What I was saying is that the parties need to be able to agree on that. That is the way that they want to do issues.
As the debate over minimum wage continues, one thing is clear: workers want more, and they will continue engaging in dialogue with their employers until they get something. Sharon Mjenjema for SETIA News in Harare.
We now take you to Bulawayo, where Workers' Day commemorations were held in the Central Business District, with workers' representatives calling for sincere dialogue between workers, managers and the government in enhancing productivity.
If these three organs don't work together in harmony, you'll see that there will be a lot of problems within a governance setup. How? If there is disagreement, obviously the workers won't put maximum effort in their work, meaning that service or quality of production will be affected. So that's the reason why this day is very critical.
In a solidarity speech at the commemoration, Zimbabwe Gender Commission Investigations Officer Agrippa Mabani called for safe and inclusive work environments and said more women are flooding the informal sector as they are pushed out of the formal sector by abuse at work, including sexual harassment.
So many women are not in the formal sector, they are found in the formal sector. It's because of the culture in informal organizations. You tolerate exploitation, harassment, and you see nothing wrong with that.
While many workers enjoyed a well-deserved break on Workers' Day, vendors and informal traders were busy making the most of the celebrations. For them, public holidays like Workers' Day are a business opportunity. As we walked through the streets of Mutare, we spoke to vendors and traders who shared their experiences on Workers' Day.
Saka tunachida kuti tisanganone hama neshamwari dzinodzisingaende kumabasa nhasi ndozuva rokutosanganawo navo tinotengesa madrinks nema-airtime. Nhasi tiri kufara izuva reWorkers Day, izuva rekuti vashandi timbozororawo. Isusu tauya hedu kumabasa tinotengesa ma-airtime nemadrink. Vari kubvawo kustadium aya vanonga vari kubvawo uko vanouya vachitengawo chikafu. Tiri kufara, hurumende yakatiisirawo Workers Day pakuti timboone kuzororawo.
Stay tuned to Newsplus.
It's time for the main event. This is incredible. He has written it, and the dream lives on. I cannot believe it.
Stay connected to DSTV this April and May and get all the football finals you want.
Harare, tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
Didn't graduate? I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt You're not paid.
That guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
Pardon? Look up. Oh! Okay. Okay.
I'm Ollie J, your host and captain for this technological voyage.
They say that curiosity killed the cat. Well, we say curiosity makes you swipe.
Okay, there's a real big one. Oh, okay.
Okay, take the elevator.
Okay, that one came out of...
Look up.
From some tech-tastic adventures to some out-of-this-world Zimbabwean inventions to the scientifically mind-boggling, we show it all.
What we're looking at is 2 charging ports to charge the vehicle.
And things get electric. Catch Swipe right here on ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294.
Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. Police in Harare have arrested 2 foreign nationals at the Robert Gabriel Mugabe International Airport who were coming from Thailand to Zimbabwe for drug trafficking. The foreigners were found in possession of 4 suitcases containing close to 70 kilograms of dagga. The first monarch had 18.5 kilograms loose skunky dagga, while the second suitcase had 17 kilograms. The third suitcase had 18.4 kilograms and the fourth had 16 kilograms of the drugs. National Police spokesperson Commissioner Ponyati confirmed the arrest in a statement and said more details will be released in due course. Moving on with our stories, National Heroine Vice Air Marshal Winnie Mandela will be laid to rest at the National Heroes Acre in Harare tomorrow. Following a farewell ceremony in Makoni Chiendambuya, a village this afternoon, her body now lies in the state at the Charles Gumbo Barracks. Vice Air Marshal Mandela passed away on Monday at the age of 64. The family of the late heroine paid tribute to her groundbreaking legacy. As a trailblazer, she became the first woman from the region to hold such a distinguished post.
Moyedu inoremerwa chose nokusiwa nehama yedu Winnie Kebi, Vice Air Marshal Mandela, the first position yakapiwa munhu wechidzimai muno muZimbabwe uye muno muAfrica. Toda kuti tende Air Force of Zimbabwe, mauto eZimbabwe uye na president nokuita recognize our sister hama yedu.
Let us briefly look at the late Vice Air Marshal Mandela's profile. May her soul rest in peace. In other news, experts in the agricultural sector from Zimbabwe and New Zealand are exchanging notes to evaluate the effectiveness of existing livestock and climate policies in mitigating environmental impact. The inclusive stakeholder dialogue currently underway in Mazoe is being spearheaded by the Department of Livestock Research under the Agricultural Research, Innovation and Specialist Services. The workshop has drawn experts from New Zealand through the country's Ministry of Primary Industries.
The first action, we want to look at good agricultural practices, which includes regenerative waste management, improved feeding, breeding, health management, as well as efficient use of resources like water and energy. we need to support our research and innovation development practices so that we foster the development of new technologies, tools, practices that lead to more sustainable livestock production systems.
Zimbabwe's National Blood Service is stepping up efforts to recruit adult blood donors amid concerns that the country's blood reserves rely heavily on school-going youths. About 70% of blood donors come from 16 to 20-year-olds, while 80% of the blood is used by the elderly. The service is organizing blood drives at workplaces and recreational facilities to encourage adults to donate. National Blood Service Southern Region Public Relations Manager Sifundo Ngwenya said the latest thrust is meant to grow the adult population of donors and encourage young donors to remain on the database and be lifetime donors.
You realize that the in-school youths contribute in excess of 70% plus of blood donation, hence our visitation to schools. When schools are open, really, we get as much as possible of blood donations from the tertiary institutions, from in-school youth, and so on. And then the biggest user of the blood are the adults. 80% plus of the blood that is donated is actually utilized by the adults. And that's why also we want to encourage the adults themselves to say, let's try and balance the status quo. At least probably maybe 0 down to 50-50 of the blood donated, so that at least when we need the blood, we are able to access it as per the need that we desire.
Moving on with our stories, Zimbabwe is making efforts to embrace modern digital innovations to effectively participate in the fourth industrial revolution. The call was made during a Jobs of the Future dialogue in Harare. The world is changing at a rapid pace, and Zimbabwe is striving to keep up. As the job industry evolves, so does the job market and the required skill set. A recent Jobs of the Future survey workshop brought together various stakeholders and job seekers to explore ways to restructure skills in the country, enhancing competitiveness.
Particular conference is designed to incite thinking around, the forecasting of the jobs, the skills that this country is going to need in the future.
The workshop highlighted the importance of adapting to the changing job market. Industry players emphasized that artificial intelligence is a crucial skill for Zimbabwe to evolve and remain competitive. Minister Mavima further called for the formalization of the informal sector for economic growth.
What we require really is that our economy gets as formalized as possible. That's the preferred situation.
With the informal sector also significantly contributing towards the country's economy, there is need to ensure that the implementation of AI tools benefits the ordinary individuals and not just office workers.
We need to harness the skills that are in the informal sector, because the informal sector is actually the hub for innovation.
Job market analysts believe it may take time to restructure the entire system and overhaul the job market.
It may take the country at least about 0 to 4 or 5 years to do only a skills development. You get what I mean? Then after we have got the database insofar as skills development is concerned, then we are now answering the question to say, look, these are the skills that we have, these are the gaps, this is how we are going to close the gaps. So it may take longer, but the first thing is to put in the infrastructure.
As Zimbabwe continues to navigate the changing job market, stakeholders are working together to ensure that the country remains competitive and that its citizens are equipped with the skills needed to strive in the future. Still on labor issues, domestic workers in Zimbabwe have been making outcries for fair wages that match their working hours over the years. The following story shines the light on the rights and interests of domestic workers and importance of keeping records.
Domestic workers are at the heart of the home, and they often ensure families' daily lives run smoothly. Yet their working conditions and working hours are not always reflective of such.
vari kushanda vari kutoti makaoma vamwe vacho havasi kupiwa nyasi sarari yakanaka dai zvichigona kuita varungu vedu dai vachitiwedzerawo nekuoma kwakaita kunze.
Some of them do not express their concerns or negotiate for fair labor standards as they fear the consequence of losing their jobs.
Vamwe vacho havazivi asi vamwe vacho vanoziva marights avo. Vakaziva varungu vacho vanobva vati iwe uri kuonesesa betati iwe uchibuda basa uchiendako. Vari kuda vaya vasingazive marights avo kuti vachingoshanda chete vachingotambira iyo mari sick money iyoyo. Vamwe havatombosvika kana kumari yese iyoyo. Vamwe vatambira $60 kana kuti asingakwane chinhu ivo vari varume.
Not all gardeners live with their families at their work residence and therefore feel it is important for employers to know their relatives in case of emergencies. They also feel their working conditions could be improved.
vasingatokwanisi kana kutengerwa even protective chekushandisa chaicho pabasa kuti basa rake rifambe zvakanaka.
While domestic workers have representations they approach in the event of a labor dispute, most employers do not take time to familiarize with the Labor Act.
Representations that they approach in labor disputes. However, some domestic workers are too afraid to approach their employers on a grievance and fear that they will lose their job. DEAZ's objectives are set out on our website, www.deaz.org.zw.
The Domestic Employers Association of Zimbabwe advises employers to keep human resources records in line with International Labour Organization Conventions 189 and 190.
So they have to have a payslip where it illustrates date of engagement, their grade, their wage, their overtime amount, whether it was at time and a half or double time, their position, and that also works in conjunction with a piece of paper or a book that they have signed to prove they've physically received the money.
In SI 186 of 2024, the minimum wage released was $150, and most employers are paying between $50 to $250, depending on their financial status or mindset. As the unique challenges faced in this often overlooked sector are addressed, there is need for mutual respect in order to adequately meet the interests of both the employers and domestic workers. Wadzanai Sansole, ZTN Prime.
South Africa has started withdrawing its soldiers from Goma. When we come back, we give you that story and more from around the world.
Stuck on you. Ooh, obsessed with you. I'm obsessed.
With Showmax, your favorite characters now follow you anywhere. Download it today and watch the best in local, international, and everything in between.
Dental checkups, experiments, games.
The mixture is making bubbles and the bubbles have changed color. Our balloon has been filled by carbon dioxide.
We have it all right here on Happy Sprouts. Catch us exclusively on City and Prime, DSTV channel 294.
In a land where traditions run deep, where the soil holds the secrets of generations, and where dreams are sown alongside seeds, a new generation emerges. Welcome to Young Seeds. Get ready to embark on a journey like no other as we shine a spotlight on the dynamic and inspiring young farmers in the heartland of Zimbabwe.
I want to do it because plants will die, plants will get infected by diseases.
I tried to do mixed farming, that is also putting tomatoes. I have half a hectare of tomatoes.
Every 40 days, it has to be giving birth.
Produce a good quality fruit size. Calves are kept in different pens, basically so that they don't spread diseases to each other.
My name is Tariwa Sibauke. I'm a rabbit farmer.
These young farmers are revolutionizing traditional practices, embracing technology, and finding sustainable solutions that will shape the future of agriculture. So, let's get our hands dirty.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. South Africa has started withdrawing its soldiers from Goma, the Democratic Republic of Congo, at the intervention of the Southern African Development Community, working with other regional blocs in East Africa. SADC leaders, led by President Mnangagwa as the current chairman, have been carrying out a series of engagements to restore peace in the DRC, especially in the Goma area. In a statement, the South African National Defence Force said it is carrying out the withdrawal of its personnel and equipment from the Eastern DRC in phases starting from April 29. The said findings by a reconnaissance team informed them to finalize the withdrawal plan, which will ensure the safe and efficient return of personnel and assets. The SADC mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo was deployed to support the DRC government in combating armed groups, particularly the M23 rebels in the eastern region. Moving on with our stories, a Kenyan member of parliament has been shot dead in streets of the capital, Nairobi, by gunmen on a motorcycle in a suspected assassination. Police said the attackers had been trailing Charles Ongodo's vehicle before one of them got off the motorbike and shot him at a close range. Kenyan police in a statement said that the nature of this crime appears to be both targeted and predetermined. Local media also reported that the opposition MP had 2 months ago complained about threats to his life. Severe shortages of food and medicine in Gaza have led to widespread hunger and illness among children as Israeli forces continue to block humanitarian aid from entering the region. The Gaza Strip is facing unprecedented suffering as shortages of food, water and medicine push its population to the brink of survival. Data shows that over 1 million Palestinians in Gaza endure severe hunger daily, with 65,000 children acutely malnourished.
يوميا يصل إلينا لداخل المستشفيات ما يزيد عن 40 إلى 100 شهيد وضعف هذا العدد من الجرحى والمصابين الذين لا نستطيع الملاحق عليهم في داخل المستشفيات بسبب فقدان كم الأكبر من الأدوية والمستلزمات الطبية والمهمات الطبية.
The United States and Ukraine have signed an agreement to establish a joint reconstruction investment fund, granting U.S. firms priority access to new investment projects involving key Ukrainian resources such as oil and natural gas. The U.S. Treasury Department said that this economic partnership positions the two countries to work collaboratively and invest together to ensure that their mutual assets, talent, and capabilities can accelerate Ukraine's economic recovery. Moving on with our stories, investment experts have expressed the urgent need for the U.S. and China to negotiate a trade agreement. This comes after warnings to the United States that if Trump's tariffs are implemented, they will cause upward pressure on domestic prices and inevitably produce inflation and persistently high interest rates.
So in the U.S. economy, shortly we're going to have inflation because retail and furniture and clothing are directly impacted, like very known brands as Shein and Temu. Like there's a lot of people buying from there, and we have retailers such as Walmart that are importers also from China. And also we've seen the impact already in the financial markets, which has been very bad and harmful. All this uncertainty going forward for the technology sectors.
A business news up next. Stay tuned.
Harare. Tune into the beat.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, your source for news, business, sports, fashion, and more.
Experience the pulse of Harare's culture and lifestyle.
Capitalk 100.4 FM, Harare's top radio station.
Join the conversation with Zimbabwe's top personalities.
Subscribe now for fresh and infotainment content daily.
Capital 100.4 FM, Harare's heartbeat.
Catch exclusive interviews every weekday for candid, exciting, and thought-provoking conversations with your host, Erika Ndoro.
We talk about arts, we can talk about sports, we can even talk about politics, and sometimes we venture into a nice guitaristic play. The one story where you can't get out of your head. Wakatarisa munhu so Erika, like where you are sitting. Ndozongokona bata face so pasina munhu.
Wakasiya music yako yo afro chakuti ndo music manje no yemuZimbabwe.
And I'm sure they're still saying the same thing now.
Yeah, so
Shona kana kuti Chindevere kana mumwe mutauri muno muZimbabwe ndiwe iwewe. Ndiwo rupawo rwako. Ndicho chidadiso chako. Catch me, Erika Ndoro, right here on ZTN Prime every single Monday at 7 p.m. whilst we get exclusive.
Captain Wally J's about to take you to boot camp.
It's the riveting science and tech show that keeps you up to date with the hottest gizmos on the block and revealing the illustrious and innovative visionaries in Zimbabwe. So much to see, you'll keep swiping.
This cherry red beauty is the Dairy Auto M7 mini electric car.
They've designed our brute force incubator board.
Look at what we've got here.
Solar powered scarecrow was part of the project that I was supposed to complete.
Catch Swipe every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. on ZTN Prime, DSTV channel 294. Get the picture?
Welcome back. In business news, Zimbabwe's short-term insurance industry showed resilience with insurance revenue reaching 4.84 billion ZiG, approximately 268 million United States dollars by year-end. According to the Insurance and Pensions Commission short-term insurance industry report for the year ended 31 December 2024, foreign currency denominated business dominated the books, accounting for $225.84 million or 84% of total revenue. Motor and fire insurance classes alone contributed over half of this revenue, reflecting sustained demand. Analysts say confidence in this industry has improved.
So confidence in the short-term insurance sector has been on the rise, as seen in the numbers, and that has much to do with the USD business that has been going up. The reason being a lot of business need insurance to hedge away some of the risks that they incur on a daily basis. And having a short-term product that's denominated in a stable currency goes a long way in uptake of such products.
First Capital Bank recorded a profit after tax of $22 million United States dollars in the 2024 financial year, down from $29.7 million in 2023. Deposits surged 45% to $178 million, while the loan book expanded by 31% to over $113 million, supporting key sectors such as agriculture, mining and tourism. Shareholders are set to receive a final dividend of 0.315 US cents per share. We spoke to Kenneth Ndlovu, a financial analyst, and this is what he had to say.
So the total net income for First Capital Bank for the year ending December 2024 decreased slightly from $78 million US dollars in 2023 to $74.3 million in 2024. Then the net interest income, it did rise significantly, by 48%, from 24 million in 2023 to 33 million in the year under review. So, this is much thanks to strong numbers in the company's loan book. It expanded quite significantly, and then the net interest income itself, it did fall to 41 million in 2024 compared to 55 million in 2023. This was heavily weighed down by lower foreign exchange trading income, which is sort of a predictable trend post currency reforms that took place early in 2024. So this is how the reforms affected, I'm guessing, all of the banks in Zimbabwe and every player who plays in the foreign exchange market. So that happened. So the bank grew its customer base, which is good, and the loan book grew quite significantly. But profit from the forex trading, which is like a historical income mainstay for anyone playing in the forex space in Zimbabwe, it declined sharply.
Moving on with our stories, the International Labour Organization, in collaboration with the African Development Bank and the Zimbabwean government, is stepping up efforts to modernize curricula at universities and polytechnic institutions. The initiative comes after concerns were raised by industry players about a mismatch between graduate skills and market demands.
As the workplace is rapidly changing due to advances in technology and other factors, training institutions must equally adapt and respond to changing industry needs. The International Labour Organization has crafted a skills development program designed to respond to concerns raised by industry players about a mismatch between graduate skills and market demands.
I think one of the key areas that the UN agencies are looking into is skills development. So, for example, with ILO, we are partnering with AFDB. AFDB is looking into skills employability as well. So even with the national curriculums and with the TVETs, we're making sure that it aligns with the skills gap so that the students are trained according to the skills match that is out in the world of work.
Running from 2025 to 2027, the two-year program will adopt a multi-stakeholder approach, bringing together business leaders, academics, and policymakers to ensure that skills training become more relevant and responsive to economic needs. Other UN agencies, including UNDP and UN Women, are part of the program, which is also stretching out to students at vocational training centers. Priority areas include modernizing course content, strengthening practical training, and aligning education pathways with growth sectors like manufacturing, ICT, agriculture, and engineering.
Together with AFDB, we've just started a project from 2025 that will roll out into 2027. What we're trying to do is to make sure that we empower our youth according to the skills gap, and then we through the TVET national curriculum, we're going into the different TVETs to make sure that their curriculum actually aligns with the skills gap that we have out there. So our youth are empowered to be able to be absorbed by the world of work.
The Curriculum Development Initiative forms part of wider efforts to ensure Zimbabwe's education system produces graduates who are ready to meet local and global market expectations. Skills development extends beyond tertiary institutions, as various UN agencies are training communities on sustainable livelihoods, imparting skills that help communities thrive while reducing carbon footprints. UNDP Program Manager for Climate Adaptation, Water and Energy Projects, Solomon Mutambara, said sustainability is at the core of their work.
We operate through models, through business models, just to promote sustainability. If it is farming, it is through a business model where farmers need to embrace farming as a business. If it is the solar or renewable energy development, like the development of solar mini grids and biogas, is still done through a business model to ensure that we can actually attract private sector investment.
As the country looks to industrialization and innovation for future growth, targeted skills development could provide the bridge between the classroom and the economy. For ZTN Prime, I'm Andile Chuma in Bulawayo.
Entertainment news up next. Stay tuned.
They call me Racer X, or in this case, Racer J. All right.
Put your seatbelt on.
Where music transcends boundaries, where rhythm and melody unite the hearts of people, comes a show that celebrates the power of music like never before. Get ready to dive into a sonic journey that will leave you mesmerized and yearning for more. Welcome to the captivating world of Z Vibes. Vibe to it, baby.
Didn't graduate? I guess I blew it.
You couldn't advise him anything. He would just look at you and say, so who do you think you are?
We were just like really spoiled.
And then they just give me the receipt and I'd pay.
The guy walks in one day and then he says that he wants to make a movie.
He was blowing the money.
There was just like this habit that he had where as soon as he got money, it was gone.
I just didn't have the skills or the experience.
This money, I could see it disappear so fast.
In entertainment news, South Africa-based Zimbabwean author and motivational powerhouse Kudakwashi T. Muganu has added yet another accolade to his growing list of achievements. The multi-talented entrepreneur, life coach, philanthropist and award-winning writer was recently honored with the Best Motivational Speaker of the Year 2025 award at the Merge Africa Awards ceremony held in Johannesburg. In 2023, he was named Outstanding Author of the Year at the Zimbabwe Achievers Awards. His two published books, The Power of Wisdom and Who Does Not Want to Quit School, have resonated deeply with readers across the region. Moving on with our entertainment stories, former Miss Zimbabwe Caroline Murinda has died at the age of 65. She died on Tuesday afternoon in a South African hospital where she had been receiving treatment. Murinda rose to prominence after winning the Miss Zimbabwe crown in 1982. She went on to represent the country at the Miss World pageant held at the Royal Albert Hall in London, where she reached the semi-finals and was honored as Africa's Queen of Beauty. Murinda was among the early black women to hold the national title, paving the way for future generations of models and beauty queens. Sports news up next. Stay tuned. In sports news, Moz FC came from a goal down to draw 1-1 with Manica Diamonds in a thrilling match at Ngoni Stadium in Norton this afternoon. The win lifted Moz back to the top of the table with 19 points, one ahead of second-placed Simba Bora. Here's the recap of the action.
Their advantage to end in a draw. But now that is a fizzing one into the box. Martin Mapisa fluffs it, and Manica Diamonds up against it from the first minute, gets the breakthrough. Ask Rupande. Oh, he did well. He struck that one nicely. The cross comes short. Whether he spotted it, what matters is that Manica Diamonds have opened the scoring.
It's only just the second goal that Moz FC have considered all season. And I think Martin Mapisa, for even all the good work he's done this season.
Was that a handball? There were suggestions. And now, Atabanda denied yet again. Penalty for Moz. Savage.
Exciting match there. Moving on with our story, our news crew spoke to several Moz fans after the match, and they shared their thoughts on the draw and their team's form so far.
Draw haina kutirwadza asi kuti tabirwawo hedu hafu moyo sevanhu vauyawo vari prepared kuti vari kunotamba netimu yakaleka asi pari zvino aiwa draw haisi kutirwadza draw iyoyo itori bho chakaipa dai tarowa ndopanga pachitirwadza tamira tofarira vakomana vedu vese aiwa vanotamba draw tirifarira haina
we are so happy because zvanga zvakaoma but zvazongoita saka draw iroro bho because yakatisisa changoramba tiri patop ne1 point
matambira kuita Mozi ezi munotoni hatikunyatsonakirwa inonzi super nice haiwa can't complain as for now we can't complain haisusu we can't think about relegation as for now.
So much excitement from the fans there. Moving on with our sports news, Manica Diamonds wing-back Asker Rupande was thrilled to score his first senior goal for the club, and he's looking to build on the faith put in by his coach Jairus Tapera.
nakochi ndofara nekundipa mukana pakuti this is my best season kutamba magames akawanda since ndijoine Manica Diamonds, so I'm very happy nekuti vanondipa opportunity yekuti nditambe ndichita sechitamba, saka ndinofara kuti mukana uramba uchindiita ndoramba ndichita zvokuda zvichifamba zvakanaka. Ndinozwa kufara kana wingi rako rononga uchivhara.
Elsewhere, Timon Machope scored the only goal of the game as Scotland beat Herentals 1-0 at Rufaro. The win ended a 3-match drought for Scotland, who moved up on third place on the log. Moving on with our stories, professional mixed martial arts athlete Luis Matias' exploits in the hexagon are gathering traction across the MMA world. The two-time amateur champion is now set to unlock new levels after impressing across different fight divisions. We get more in the following report.
Former two-time IMF champion Luis Matias walks the talk in the cage. The mixed martial arts star's pedigree has grown over the years, together with his fight record and ranking, to become one of the biggest prospects in the sport. Nicknamed the Porcupine, Matias has shown his spikes in the hexagon, delivering standout performances across various MMA organizations. In his most recent outing at the African Knockout 08 in Nigeria, Matias defeated Oluwa Damilare, making history as the first fighter in AKO to win via Kimura submission. All these milestones and more speaks to over a decade of dedicated work in the making of a champion.
That's my specialty.
the submission. It's something I really work on, you know. And people see a 66-second victory in the first round. I did a 2-month training camp in Dubai to sacrifice everything to leave home here, go to Dubai and train. It's worth it, man. It feels really good. It feels really good to train the grappling and to win with that submission in 66 seconds. It's a lot of work, and it's motivating.
Like in most sports, success in MMA comes at a cost, and Mataya believes that he's paid his dues through sacrifice and determination to earn his spot among the elite.
Those 66 seconds came from 11 years worth of work behind the scenes. We don't talk about these things. Behind the scenes, traveling to South Africa, starving at home so I can afford to pay for my trips and training camps and everything. So a lot of sacrifices going to this, and we all know that there's quite a few challenges with the sporting industry and funds around here.
Known for his relentless drive, Mataya is the first Zimbabwean MMA fighter to train locally and compete on the international stage and win titles, gracing the prestigious heights of AKO and the UAE Warriors, among other organizations.
There's that status which people get, like people like John Jones, you know, people like Conor McGregor, the greatest of all time. I feel like I'm cut from that cloth, the Khabibs, you know, I honestly feel like I'm cut from the same cloth, you know, the cloth of greatness. The whole world will know my name. That's who I am. Fish, they swim. Birds, they fly. I fight. That's how it is.
Drawing inspiration from others, Mataya is also embracing his role as a mentor, paying it forward to the next generation.
We're going to show the fighting potential of this country. Kumusha ukoko kune varume varakulidwa zvikuru vanotakura danda rinorema 10 times more than ivo. Of course, munhu iyeyo ukamisa mucage umomo, what will happen? I know there's a lot of people in Zimbabwe. Right now, I cannot do much. I have a team now of 7 people that I'm grooming. Those people are training more people who have thousands of MMA athletes dominating the whole world. That's a promise. Save this interview. That's a promise. Let's start with the end goal. It's the UFC. It's the UFC. That's where big eyes will be. So big eyes, not only for me, but big eyes for my team, big eyes for my country, for my continent.
Despite limited resources back home, Zimbabwe's MMA talent continues to rise on the global scene, with home-based talents like Mataya adding to the phenomenon. As the Zimbabwean MMA community maintains momentum, the leading lights are promising to carry forward a legacy of combat sports icons who have gone on to shake the world. Reporting for ZTN Prime.
Well, that concludes our news bulletin. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We now leave you with the weather. I am Francisca Msheche. Good night.